I'm Dr. John, and this is your Maintenance Minute. Hey, we're continuing our conversation on storeroom processes and procedures, and we're down to, or up to, I guess you could say, KPIs and metrics. Just a real quick word about the difference between a metric and a key performance indicator. A metric is anything that you measure to get a sense of the size or the scale of it. That would be a metric. You just want to measure something to see where it's at. A key performance indicator, the reason it's a key performance indicator is because it's a metric that is tied directly to a stated goal or objective. And that means you have an actual documented goal that you're going to move this needle, so to speak. For example, we want to decrease inventory value or increase inventory accuracy. You really spell out the goal. Well, that measure now becomes a key performance indicator, right? So a KPI is a type of metric. Not all metrics are key performance indicators, but key performance indicators are a type of metric. So let's talk about some of the, like the big four metrics. Whatever you guys are measuring now is fine. I have no concern about that. In fact, I say continue to record those and try to move those in the right direction. As far as ones that you might want to also consider, and these are the big four anyway that I believe are, this is what I'd be working with you on to try to improve. Inventory value, the cost of your inventory, what you guys currently have as far as the dollar amount, is anywhere from 0.5 to 2% of your estimated replacement value. I tend to shoot for about 1%, kind of measure where you are now against ERV and determine if you can get up to or down to 1%. That's kind of middle of the road. That's a good place to sort of target for. You might find if you're in the chemical business or oil and gas, you might need closer to 2%. If you're in pharmaceuticals, you might be, or general manufacturing, I should say, you might be closer to 1% or maybe down to the 0.5%. It really depends on where you are too, right? If you're out in a major city like Chicago or Houston, you could probably have less inventory because you got suppliers across the street. If you're somewhere in a more remote location, you may need to have more inventory. That's certainly understandable. Another one of the big ones, the sergeant majors of metrics, I would say, is inventory accuracy, about 98%, but it's a aggregate of critical spare parts, A's, B's, and C's. Critical spare parts, we definitely want to have 100% accurate. Your A items, you definitely want to have 100%. These are the items that are turning all the time. B items, I've kind of divided into two sort of levels. One is like the really important B items, and the bottom is like the not so much. The really important one's 100% accurate. When I say not so much, it's like not the most critical B items. Down to 98%, and then of course the C items at 98. Look, I'm not going to, close the airports and the train stations and recall all the boats back to the dock because I'm missing a tube of caulk or a 5-gallon container of paint, right? That's my C items. But if I'm missing a 250 horsepower motor or a critical spare part, right, I'm going to revoke passports. Everybody come to work. We're going to turn the place upside down. So that's my inventory accuracy. Yeah, again, accuracy is what's on the computer system as far as count. That's what I actually have on the shelf, right? When I'm doing spot cycle counting, what I tend to find is open up a drawer, look at a shelf. I've got the right component there, but then I got all kinds of other hodgepodge pieces of things. I've never understood why that is. Look, the part that's supposed to be there's the only thing that's on that shelf or in that drawer location, right? Let's clean up our storerooms a little bit. Inventory service level, you measure this by stockouts, so it's the opposite of stockouts. I want to have what a person needs 97% of the time or greater, right? That's the service level target I'm shooting for. Now, there's a rule for this. I want to have what you need 97% of the time or greater. We've got to determine what need means. Maintenance people are notorious for, coming in and saying, hey, you got one of these, maybe give me 2 just in case. How many did you actually need? Did you need 1? I'm not taking the stock out because you want something. Right, you got to actually need it. So there's a real hard discussion about inventory service level and what the definition of need is. This is a conversation. That's why it's a process, right? You got to define what you mean by need. The last one is inventory turn rate. It's one of the hardest ones to understand, but this is probably the most critical. If I've got my inventory turn rate correct, it tells me that I'm stocking the right items in about the right quantity. That's what turn rates tell me. It's like a grocery store. I want my inventory to turn over the perishable stuff, the dairy and the bread and those kind of the meats and stuff. I want them to, I want to turn over and sell stuff. So the turn rate, the world-class number is 1.4. But I'll tell you, don't shoot for 1.4. You're going to be in the world of hurt if this is your number and you don't have an exceptional preventive and predictive maintenance program and an out of this world, top of the world planning and scheduling. That's what's required to pull this 1.4 off. If you shoot for this and you got crappy PMs and lousy planning and scheduling, you'll be flying, you'll be red balling everything in, believe me. But rather, when we're setting up storerooms here at Maintenance Innovators, we're shooting for 2.3 to 3.2. If you've got that kind of turn rate, that means you're stocking the right items in about the right quantity, right? These are the ones that I would track: inventory value, inventory accuracy, inventory service level, and turn rate. Keep tracking what you're tracking, make those numbers better, but at least include these 4. Very important. These are the Sergeant Majors. I'm Dr. John, and this has been your Maintenance Minute.